Welcome to the House of Jin Shin, and we have a very special guest today, Maria Dooley Chuapoco. And I've known Maria for a very long time, about 30 years. We have had always a very, very nice connection, and I just want to tell you a little story. We were in Bonn together, remember? In Germany, and we had the hands-on session. We were doing a training with Philomena, and a German lady came up to me and she said, "Your pulses sound exactly the same as Maria." And what does that tell you, right? I mean, that is just so, because we are so different in a way, but there was something about it that was so similar, so hence our connection. Anyway, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Maria was introduced in '78 to Jin Shin Jitsu, and tell us a little bit of your story.
Well, my mom was introduced in '78, and she had sessions. Well, first of all, hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. And thank you, Alexis, for having me. It's been great to pull me out of my little world here. And my mom got started with Jin Shin Jitsu in '78, and when she got back from receiving sessions in Scottsdale, she needed people to work on her, and so my brothers and I would work on her, and we didn't know anything. We just looked at the books and did what we were told, and her journey continued to progress out of that story of phlebitis, and she's 86 with us here, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people know who your mom is, because a lot of people know you and some people don't. And so Maria's mom is Philomena Dooley, who is my mentor and teacher for 30 years, and her mom for many, many years more. So, so Maria has really been studying a lot and has had the privilege really to be around it the most part of your life.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to grow with Jin Shin Jitsu in my life, and it's a great way to pass the time when things happen. You've got tools that are always there and always ready to support you and help you through. So it's not gonna, sometimes you have to go through things, but always have your hands and the safety energy locks, which are the workhorses of Jin Shin Jitsu, to you pass the time.
And you also studied in Japan?
I was invited to Japan. Dr. Hiriko Kato invited me to Japan, and I got to the privilege of spending time there, about 2 weeks. And I tell you what, he was a force. Strong energy, and just loved everything. He just was fun to be around.
What do you feel the difference is between really what Mary brought to the United States? Because you studied with Mary as well, right?
Yes, I started studying with Mary in '81, and she fully opened the door to another possibility of being in the world, and she really transformed the tools that she got from Jiro Morai into something that was accessible to everybody at every level. It wasn't so much a masteryship for her as much as a dissemination of the art so that people could feel empowered, and that was her big mission, is to empower people.
Did she talk a lot about self-help?
Always self-help. She said, if it is to be, it is up to me. So use your hands. Always, she used to say, be your own testimony. Just place your hands on your body and see what arises. Because she used to say to me all the time, learning is remembering. It's not grabbing. It's just being there and allowing that information to come through.
And did you have her hands on, did she practice on you as well? So tell me about that.
Oh, she had wonderful hands, wonderful hands. very knowing and powerful and skillful hands, as well as, you know, the people. This Pat had beautiful hands, and Martha Burmeister, I still remember the first time she touched me. Oh my God, Martha. I thought I was gonna die.
Who is Martha?
Martha.
Martha.
His wife. She had powerful hands too. So.
So it's in the family, and so do you.
Yeah.
Because I've had your hands, and it was one of a kind of experiences I never forgot in Germany there when we were in our 20s.
Keep touching bodies, and then you start to learn something.
So when you first started to study with her, was the material like overwhelming, or were you able to pick out parts for yourself?
I had no clue what she was talking about. I knew she was speaking English, but for some reason, the way she was talking, it was like a different language. It took me a couple of days to fall in sync, to be able to hear the words that she was saying and to catch it. But I couldn't catch it. I didn't know what she was talking about, but I felt something. I felt something true. And so I stayed and I listened.
And so you studied all those years? I mean, you have been studying and you had a practice, or you have a practice?
Yep, I've been practicing a kind of journeyman Jin Shin Jitsu. Well, first I'm gonna do Jin Shin Jitsu because that was what my mom did. But as I've been seeking my art, it has been with me all along.
Yeah, that's nice because, you know, growing up with a mom who does it, I guess as you become a teenager, maybe you also want to pull away from it. But it seems like all of the kids, all your siblings, they really embraced it, right?
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Well, it works. If it didn't work, keep doing it.
Yeah. We were talking about, because we had this glitch this morning, but the concept of jumper cables, and we were talking about Wi-Fi, and we were discussing this when I was visiting Boulder, remember?
Yes.
Do you want to just talk a little bit about that, like the concept of Wi-Fi and jumper cable energy?
Well, it's the thing with trying to find language for Jin Shin Jitsu, or, you know, language just can point to it, to something. It can't fully encompass the whole of it. And so when you jumper cable your hands, when you place your hands on your body, you're energizing your body. You're kind of stimulating the original blueprint, you know, so that when your cells replicate, it's going from that message of perfection. Not perfection in a beauty and right kind of way, but in a perfection in a way of like some kind of universal harmonious way, you know. So when you place your hands on your body, you're utilizing that energy to bring forth that new message or perfect operating system. So.
Yeah, and then when I was speaking in Boulder, my daughter, she was listening to when I was doing my book talk, and she said, "Mom, what is a jumper cable?" And I realized maybe we need to update the concept. So it was in the conversation with you, remember?
Like Wi-Fi, because you don't even need a cable, like, because everything is Wi-Fi, Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So what does it mean? I mean, that's like, it's moving so fast that our language can't even get there.
And it's connecting to this larger environment, really, from our individual body, connecting to the larger source. And that's kind of what Wi-Fi does. It gives us access to everything we want. And I feel it's the same as kind of jumper cable energy, seventh depth, the light that we use to harmonize our body.
Good thing with Jin Shin Jitsu is that our jumper cable energy, there's no spam. It's all good.
There's no bloopers there.
The energy you're downloading is totally the energy from that original star that we are, that everything's.
Yeah. I just wanted to, so you studied with Kato as well, and I did as well. What do you feel are like differences, because they studied with Jeremiah at different times? And so what was in your experience some differences in the way they present or worked also?
Jiro, when he first gave it to Mary, I think he thought it was some kind of home care, but she knocked it out of the park. Home care, boom, here you go, here's something to help you get through. It's okay, you've got this. And she did that. Hariko Kato, Dr. Kato Sensei, he went in and studied to bring it into the medical system. So he only taught it to people who already had medical training. And so his exposure to people was limited because he was really on a clinical level. And it's not to say that one begets the other. They're both, one negates the other. They're both really powerful aspects of Jin Shin Jitsu, and you can have both. I don't think one is, I think they both feed into each other.
We use them both, right? Did Kato Sensei use other modalities?
Yeah, he used Kiten. He did something, he did some kind of muscle brushing that was really good, that affected the nervous system on the skin surface level to open up the body, and then he would do Jin Shin Jitsu. He studied Moxa. He studied lots of things, and he was, I loved how he would prepare the body. So he prepared with manipulation and rubbing and things like that, and then he would do Jin Shin Jitsu, and it was pretty remarkable the effect he got. He really got some good effects doing that.
The experience when I went was different too. The way he works on the body, it was was quicker and almost more practical.
It wasn't spa-like.
It's not like you're out necessarily just lying there.
It wasn't
completely.
Like pampered and.
Right, it's different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So both effective.
Both effective, and in this way we can also see that there's different ways to practice, and you can combine certain things. They all go together.
They're evolving. Mary evolved Jiro. Hariko Kato Sensei evolved Jiro as well. And together with both this information, it's constantly evolving. You just have to stay true to the main principles. And Which are, Maria? Your main principle, the activating principle, the mediator, keeping your SELs in harmony. We were talking the other day, you said some quickies, and we were going to talk about the nervous system, but the quickies, I'm a finger holder. I'm not, when I notice something, that's when I'll go to the organ level or something else. But usually I'm a finger holder. I'm a 11 and 15, 11, 25.
So simple.
Every day, I do those every day, and my main central every day. So.
Me too. Let's talk a little bit.
Clean flow is something I really
need or like or do, practice.
Something I'm so used to doing, I toss it in there all the time.
Me too. Let's talk a little bit about the nervous system, because Yvonne from Holland, she really wanted us to discuss it. So I thought we'll take the opportunity when Maria's here. She was talking about when people have nerve pains in their body, it could be in their arms or the neck, or could be in the legs or in the feet. So how would you approach it, and can you guide us through a little exercise?
Well, nerve pain, it can come about from a lot of different things, from injury, habitual patterns, and also autoimmune situation. So, you know, our nervous system is our state of being. So it's kind of like our operating system. And if we're one to be anxious and our nervous system is already operating at a high level, and so that anything that comes about puts a burden on that and can suppress our ability to heal or to be with what is with nerves. But nerves, boy, I have a middle toe, at the very tip of it. I did something to it 15, 20 years ago. And no matter how many times I do that stomach line, it's still there. And so I hit it just in the right place every once in a while, and it reminds. But people live with that kind of pain all the time. And I hats off, because it is definitely a meditation to practice passing through that kind of nerve pain.
So when you practice, do you look at all of that? It's like, why is it there, and understanding the body in front of you? How do you go about it?
Well, usually when I'm listening to the pulse and I'm palpating and touching people, I can tell the level of tension in their bodies. And sometimes just relaxing that muscular tension will give some space to the nervous system and allow that to soften a little bit. And I have a young man I had the pleasure of working with, and he had been to everybody and was experiencing some discomfort. And I love working with him, because he wasn't like, oh, I've seen you only get people who've been to everyone else, mm-hmm. and then they did Jin-Jitsu, you know.
Right. Well, that's great.
What was great with him was, it wasn't like it disappeared. We were co-opting the situation together. He recognized that something was different. The pain was still there, but he had a different relationship to it. And it continues to change. The story continues to change for him, but he is working hard on himself every day. Like, he's a
That is really, I mean, I think that's so beautiful that you say that, because we as practitioners also, you know, it's important for us to be open that we're not going to fix the person.
I'm not a fixer.
I would like, can you talk a little bit more about that? It's so important for people to hear.
Oh, I don't fix anybody, you know. It's like,
yeah,
I'm there to help the journey, you know. And so if I can support them learning about their body, learning the story that got them there, and giving them self-help so that they get to do that, to discover their own gifts and their own ability to heal themselves, is great, because it's not me.
So when they come, when they come and meet you, they are introduced to this way of seeing their projects and understanding them, and then learning how to work with them and turn them into fun.
Absolutely. It's, and if you move that way, and some people have like scary stuff, and I don't want to make light that it's not going to be difficult. You know, some people's roads are harder than others, you know, and you know, because we all got the same operating system, but we've got environment, we've got economy, our economic situation, and we've got genes that are going to change how that operating system works in our lifetime. So with Jin Shin Jyutsu, we help to mitigate the edges of our situation, so that in a more harmonious, flexible way, with our energy and our bodies and our minds and our.
Yeah, beautiful. I really liked it, because a lot of people, they ask me questions. What do you do for this? What do you do for that? And what?
I'm not someone who knows Jin Shin Jyutsu textbook wise. Mary used to say, go body to book, not book to body. So see what's happening in your body, observe what's happening in your body or others, and let that inform you as you peruse through the pages of all the textbooks that are out there.
And that's why it's really a limitless art. In this way, because everybody is different.
Oh, here's my cat.
Hello.
Come on, get out of the way. No one wants to see your butt.
So yeah, so I always share this with my community, practice the art. And that's really from body to book. It's always different.
Yes, yes. Because you.
Oops, sorry. Always, wait,
No.
sorry, one more time.
Only you know your body the best.
That's my kid calling. That's when you do lives and you're in quarantine and all this stuff happens.
It's all good. Life's happening. That means it's real.
It is. So yeah. All right. So about the nervous system. Can you just guide us through? We did it at a different time, so I took some extra time to spend with you because it's so you know really nice things to say, and we always go through some self-help holds. So can you recommend anything and guide us through some holds for balance the nervous system on different levels?
If you have acute pain, like real pain, you can hold your 5s and 16s.
All right, let's practice for a minute, okay? We usually go through holding it. Maybe you can explain what people feel also.
Pardon?
What people feel. What do you feel as you practice? How long do you hold it? I get these questions a lot, and it's nice to hear it from you. What if you don't feel a pulse? What do you feel for?
No, I feel for something feels softer. So I'm just holding top and bottom like this. So if I'm watching TV or let me see if I can just hold like that, and then just wait until you feel the time has passed, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, or you can hold it longer. There's no set thing. The thing with practicing Jin Shin Jitsu, you're not getting anywhere. You're not trying to master something. You're just trying to unwind. You're just trying to open up your body so that more stuff can come in, you know? So when the body's tight, you're full. Nothing else can come in. So when you use the workhorses of the SELs, they work so hard. The body gets the opportunity to exhale. You don't have to tell it to exhale. It's just doing it. So we'll hold the 5s. You know, the 5 means regeneration. You know, it's putting off the old, as Mary says, and putting on the new. What better thing to hold? Talk about reboot. The 5 is the reboot. Or the reconnect, you know. It frees us from old worn out ideas of self, family, position, power, everything. And Mary says 5 helps us rise above the 5 senses level. Well, seeing, hearing, feeling, touching, tasting. Wow, a world above that has no attitude. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, it's below the waist.
Yep. Yep.
I see you're holding your right side.
I'm
holding my left.
Perfect. We're perfect in the world.
You see how we are in harmony, harmonizing our right and left side.
And then the 16 is the basis of all human undertakings. So why not have a strong foundation, you know? And also helps generative properties. But when you're in pain, you know, you're holding your 5 and 16, it's only going to get you so far. You really have to work with your mind and your body, and sometimes use allopathic therapies, because there's no hero in pain, you know?
But this whole does help any kind of pain in the body, right?
Any kind of pain, and it's powerful. I remember when I was giving birth, these my mother and Susan Brooks were holding these.
Yeah. Wow, they must be powerful.
Yeah. So another thing. So if you have physical pain, that 5 and 16 is really good, and if it's habitual pattern, that means musculature is off. So or skeletal situation is off. So if it's musculature, you can go to your 1 and 8. And I know this for you is very powerful, the 1 and 8, Alexis, because that's Jin Shin Jitsu.
Because what?
That's how you came to Jin Shin Jitsu.
That is right, yes.
And so that'll help our musculature, muscle system to relax. The 8s relax everything all over. They're such powerful.
Does it matter which hand you place on which location?
Everyone's comfortable. So I usually go like this, but if you like to be fancy, that's okay. Do it and see what it feels like. No big deal, because we have principles that fix it. I mean, there's nothing to fix, but you know, it works.
The energy finds its way.
Yeah, it finds its way. Yeah. The safety energy locks are the doers. It's not us. We're just giving it power.
What about for pain? A lot of people have nerve pain in their neck or even radiating down the arms, particularly at this time.
So,
where people are always on computers. And do you have any ideas for that?
So usually nerve pain in the extremities, it comes from the trunk. So this is what Dr. Kato was all about, is to clear out the tension in the connection between the extremities and the trunk. So you would go to your 26s, you know, in the front here on the 22. If it's on your legs, you can go to your 15, the groin, and then also the 11.
So what are you, how are you thinking? What is the basic principle? Like if you have pain here, where would you go? It's like, how are you thinking as a practitioner or working on yourself? Like I have pain here. Sometimes you hear I go to the opposite side, or what is like your basic principle or ideas?
In my neck, I'm going to my neck.
Okay.
Later, as that opens up, and I might go someplace else. But first I'll go there first. You know, I'll go right where, if I have a pain in my neck, I'm gonna go right here at my 11 and 3 area. And I'll just hold that.
Yeah, so you can approach it with different philosophies also. Some people think maybe bring it down first, or you can, if you have pain, you go first to the spot where it hurts.
Yeah, my 15 is going to help bring it down. I'm holding my 15, so that's going to help. You know, also
so you can place one hand on it and one hand below the waist to bring it down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like the way you're thinking. You know, I like people to understand that it's a creative art and that you.
Well, you do it this way, and then you get to your 25. I'm 11, 15, 11, 25. That's a good friend of mine every day.
11, 15, 11, 25.
Can't go through my day without it. That's like
so simple. Do your kids practice? I see them running around in the back sometimes. In the kitchen.
You know, they practice when something arises, but mostly they ask me, and I have a rule. No matter how tired I am, if they ask me for a session, they get it.
Oh.
And usually, like my little Julia, she has great timing. She'll ask like right when I'm ready for bed.
Right. Well, our kids are lucky that we're born into it, really, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And mostly they like me working on their toes, and they like me to dig.
Yeah,
The more
they got that from their grandma, right?
pain I can inflict, the happier they are.
Can you talk a little bit about if you use pressure or not, or what is your touch like?
So it, I like to go in and find where it's tight. Mary used to say the core and the surface are the same. So if the core is tight, the surface will be tight. So I want to find that tight spot. And I go in, I used to go in when I first started doing Jin Shin Jitsu until someone jumped, and then I'd back off. You never want to be at a place where you're making someone uncomfortable, because what you're doing is you're wanting to relax into opening. And if they're uncomfortable, that ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
So it's important that you have a very comfortable rapport with the person that you're treating.
Yeah, and let them say it's okay. Tell me if this is comfortable or this is not comfortable. Tell me if I can, because usually when you're working with somebody, you notice that it opens up a little bit, and then you kind of want to go a little deeper. And I'll just tell them, I said, I'm going in for another hit here. And for it. Some people, you don't want to tell them because they'll tense up, especially some people who have really tight 15s. I just go in. And then I say, I'm not moving anymore. That's it. And then they kind of relax. But they know. Like, they're old timers, so they know.
And what about Kato? How did he practice, let's say, as compared to Mary? Was there a different speed in their sessions, or the pressure, or what is your experience?
Very, his touch was light, but firm, really clear. And he would move through the session really quickly, very quick. Like he'd run a flow pattern on you in no time, you know. And so it was just different. It was just different.
He also did, when I went, he did both sides, left and right, both.
Always bilateral.
Bilateral. Well, Mary really said if you practice the right side, it will automatically open the left as well.
Right.
Do you have how do you personally feel about that in your own experience?
Sometimes I do both sides. Sometimes I do one. It just all depends. Sometimes I have all intentions. I go, this was a perfect candidate for bilateral. And then I get stuck on one side, and thank goodness for the main central. It'll just make it all good.
Do you always practice some sort of main center source in your own practice every day, and in working on others as well, practicing on others?
Yeah, I always do the main central. And then some mornings I don't feel like it. And I say, no, discipline is in doing. So I'm a disciple. I'm a disciple to the main central. So
why is it so important to the main central? Why?
The main central, that gets our endocrine system, and the endocrine system are the hormones that keep this body going. And they have incredible timing. And when the main central is strong, it feeds everything, and keeps us right on time, as Mary would say, right in the beat of the universe. So it's very.
When you teach people self-help and they ask you, you know, when shall I practice? What do you recommend?
Whenever they have time. I do it in the morning. I used to do it at night, and but then I would be awake, and now I do it in the morning, and and then I fall asleep.
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes I love doing it when I go to the kids' Suzuki music lessons, and I'll lie on the couch and I'll do it, and I don't even make it past my 13s. I'm out.
So anytime is good.
Anytime's good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was just so wonderful to see you and to have you at the House of Jin Shin.
That was so fun. It was so conversational, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you students and viewers, just hold yourself and hold others. That's all you got.
Yeah, thank you. Lola, are there any questions? No?
I mean, there are.
Well, let's have a few questions. Come on.
Okay.
For Maria. She's not always live with us.
When holding the 5 and 16 on someone else.
When holding the 5 and 16 on someone else,
Does it matter which hand is on which?
does it matter which hand is on which SEL? The 5 and 16?
No, just place your hands there. Just, you have to be comfortable. If you're comfortable, they'll feel the energy coming through. So your right hand on right 5. Usually it's right hand on right 5, left hand on right 16. But
it's one of the exceptions where they do say that. I think this is what the question is probably about. It's a trick question, really.
yeah,
Maria, see if you know your stuff.
yeah, go ahead. I don't care. I'm not attached to being right. I'm just attached to my SELs open. So
I love that. You hear that? You see? That's the genius. Yes, that's what it's about. The energy finds its way.
Figure out which one. That's great. No big deal. It's all good. It's all good. You know.
Yeah.
But it's about getting your hands on your body and finding out for yourself. Be your own testimony. You might not like having your right hand on your right 5. Or usually when you work on someone and you do that, they'll say, "Oh, I'm feeling uncomfortable." Easy peasy, change your hands. No big.
I love that. And that's what you say, from body to book, not the other way around.
Listen to people. Listen to people. They'll say, "Oh, I'm feeling nauseous." Oh, I really got to change my hands.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? 2 more questions.
If something isn't working, will it eventually, if you keep doing it? I get pains in my head from sinus.
If something doesn't work, wait, can you?
Should you keep doing it?
Should you keep doing it? You mean the same flow?
Yeah, like this person gets pain in their head from sinus troubles.
She gets pain in her head from sinus troubles, and I assume that the sinus flow, this one that we do, doesn't resolve it. So does she keep doing it, or does she go and do something else?
Why not try something else? You know, I would maybe do that I love for sinus, like that's quickie second method correction, where you're on the 15 and then you're just working down in between the ribs. Maybe her chest needs to open up. That's here and it's not getting anywhere, so maybe she gets her 22s open. You know, you explore. You don't get stuck in recipes. Okay.
Yeah.
These are Jiro's recipes, and they're Mary's recipes and Kato Sensei's recipes, but they're recipes. So you can have your recipe, but you have to be based in the principles. So down the front and up the back.
I mean, you're thinking like if you have sinus projects and it's stuck in the head and you're practicing the sinus flow.
Yes.
You need to, it's not moving enough. So you need to think creatively and bring it down. And
Correct.
A lot of the flows from Jiro, they were case studies. I mean, he really did all the research on people. So
on people, all on his body. So it's, you know, so if that's not working, so I need to clear something lower, you know, to get that sinus, you know, I need to get lower down. It's okay. Try it out and see. And then what if you did, what did you have? Like a SEL flow where you're holding the 1 and the 2 and going down the leg, or what if you just cleared the leg and then you did your sinus thing? Oh, but is it same side or opposite? Who cares? Do one side, see if that wasn't it, do the other side and see. You're gonna know what works.
And that's what makes it fun to think like that you're not stuck in this, what you have to do and only the right way and fear of getting it wrong and all of that, right? That's why we have fun. That's how we have fun.
Wrong is not touching, not putting your hands on your body.
All right. There's one more question.
One more. With mini stroke, one thing is most challenging is vocal paralysis and pain in the left part of their neck.
Mini stroke and pain in the left part of the neck and
Vocal paralysis.
vocal paralysis.
So that's coming from the 10 area. So you'd want to, but if it's self-help, you can get into your high 19, you know, and then the opposite high 1.
How do you thinking that like mini stroke is related to the 10 area?
Well, she's saying vocal paralysis, so vocal cords, especially the left 10. And if you can get there, great. If you can stick a ball in the sock and throw it back there, great. But usually there'll be tightness in the front of the arm on the high 19 area, and then you can go to the opposite high 1 to help to bring that down. And the stroke, Mary said that when the 22s are clear, that'll help stroke conditions. So I'm always aware. I remember when I first started with Mary, I could get 3 fingers resting in between here, nice and clean. I can't get 3 fingers in there anymore. So she'd say when this is clean in here, you won't get any stroke conditions. So I got some work to do, but it's all right. I'm not sweating it.
If you're thinking, put it up. You have time being in quarantine.
Yes.
Do you, when you think of stroke, I also think about 16s and, you know, can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
16, that helps open up the musculature, and so 16s and 8s, you know, anything that helps to relax the body. You know, strokes, it's blood, it's making sure your blood is nice and slippery from the liver flow. Liver flow helps that smooth movement of all that fluid in our body. So that's real important. And, you know, if you want, you know, dietary choices will also help with stroke conditions. You know, picking your food better, but sometimes that's all right. You know,
Keeping our mind healthy, keeping our body healthy. I don't want to let you go, but I think it's about that time. Just for the people that are watching, I'm doing a pulse listening class tomorrow, and so you can still sign up for that. It will be tomorrow at 3 and also next week, and Lola will post something about that. And that's it. I am so happy that you were a guest at the House of Jin Shin. You're welcome anytime, Maria. I appreciate so much.
It's been a pleasure, a real pleasure. Thank you so much, and bye everyone out in Cyberland. Some